We're back at 9:16 on North Dakota Today. You know, stress is a part of your everyday life. There's no escaping it. You have it at home with the kids. You have it at work with your boss. You even have it at the grocery store when you're standing in line there.
Come on. The question is, how do you recognize the warning signs of too much stress in your life, and handle that stress in the right way?
I think that's the key. How do you handle it in the right way? Melissa Horner is with Inspired Life Wellness Clinic in Bismarck. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning.
You're a nurse practitioner there at Inspired Life. You just
Yes.
joined there, so
Been there
welcome.
3 weeks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now,
Thank you.
I know that stress is not a new phenomenon. We've always had stress. That's why we
Right.
have the fight or flight instinct, right?
Yes,
But
exactly.
is it getting worse for us in our society today?
It seems like it is. I think, and especially for women, I think we're constantly putting so much pressure on ourselves to be the perfect mother, be the perfect wife. And, and of course not to leave men out of that picture too.
Yeah.
Men feel a lot of stress too to provide for their families. And so it's, unlike money, we've all had stress.
Now, a caveman, if he had stress, he'd probably just go out and club something. But we we ideally cannot do that. So, first of all, how do you recognize? Maybe it's the feeling that you want to club somebody, but how do you recognize that maybe it's getting a little out of control for you?
Well, interestingly enough, if you let stress go on long enough, it eventually becomes de-stress. It causes the distress system in your body, and it does trigger that fight or flight response that you talked about. So there's actually a chemical reaction in your body to stress. So it's going to increase your heart rate. It can slow down your digestive tract. You might find that you're sick all the time because it can negatively affect your immune system too. So you want to watch for some of those signs that you're just feeling overwhelmed, signs that your chest might be hurting, your heart rate might be speeding up, your blood pressure is out of control. Cortisol is another stress hormone. It's a primary stress hormone that can be released, and that can cause increased blood sugar too. So you may have signs and symptoms that are related to that as well.
When people come into your office, Melissa, what is stressing people out the most?
It's everything. It's everything from job stressors to financial stressors, lots of relationship stressors, trouble relating with their spouse or their kids, their teenage kids in particular.
Gosh.
Imagine that, yeah.
Exactly. So it's a whole gamut of things. And stress can come from a lot of different areas. It can be, environmental. It can be something internally. If we're dealing with illness, that's a stressor in and of itself.
It seems like to me, though, that certain people are just wired to handle stress in a more laissez-faire or go with the flow sort of mode, and then other people, we won't mention any names, they just, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes. And you're absolutely right. And the reason for that being is because genetically, we are predisposed to developing more depression, more anxiety, more, and so much of dealing with those things is how we cope with them. And so some people are just apt to be able to cope better, and some people aren't.
There are different coping mechanisms, right? Like I can burst into tears, that will help to release some of that stress. I can, and I think we can talk about some specific ways to deal with that too after the break.
Let's take a quick break right now. We're talking with Melissa Horner within Inspired Life Wellness Clinic. We're going to find out the right ways to deal with stress when we come back on North Dakota Today.